Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Green's Electrical School, where knowledge is our expectation. As promised, we have made a promise to you guys as we will make a video on how to wire a circuit breaker panel. Yes, that big panel is in your house, or some houses have small ones. You'll be learning how to wire it. You'll be learning about the basics today, and once you learn this basic, you can actually wire any panel. The only difference, a smaller panel that we're going to be using today, you learn it that way, and then any bigger panel is just you just adding more breakers to it, just adding more breakers, but it's the same procedure, it is the same layout for any panel you're gonna wire, right? So we'll be getting right into that. Before we go any further, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more excellent video like these is gonna be uploaded. All right, so we're gonna get right into it right now, and we're gonna show you guys how to do it right here on Green's Electrical School. Yeah, so we're gonna get right into it now, viewers and subscribers. I want our camera to really focus on this. This is a real panel box, but it's a makeshift mounting. I just got an old piece of door to actually mount it on, just for demonstration purpose. This is not the real way how we mount a panel, because this is completely understand that. All right, but I just get something to mount it on so you guys can actually see what is being done here. So this is a panel box. I'm sure you guys have seen something like this before. Some of you some of the homes have bigger ones, big long ones, shorter ones to this, but they all do the same job, and they all have the same purpose and basically the same connections, right? As I said earlier, the only thing that gets bigger is the amount of breakers you put in the panel. All right, so this is I'm gonna show you guys, because looking at this now, you would say, all right, I see a lot of wires. I don't know what in the world is this, or what in the world is gonna happen here. Okay, so I wanna break this down. Forget the wires. I already pre-drawn the wires through. I've already made some simple connection to make this video run a little quicker for you guys to you know don't want to get a very long video, long drawn out video with something simple as this. Okay, so this is a four-way panel box. What it means by a four-way panel box, it can hold four breakers. All right, if you guys don't know what a breaker is, for some of my viewers and subscribers that are watching this for the first time, this is a circuit breaker. Looks familiar? Yes, normally you would see it in your home already embedded in the panel box, and you just, whenever you want to turn it off, you just turn it off, and you turn it on. Right? So this is the breaker. We get more about this further on in the video. Well, let's get back to the panel box. I want my camera to zoom in a little bit closer so you guys can see what is happening more. Right? So it's a four-way panel box. Now, when a panel is determined or is classed by the number of breakers it can hold. All right. So this is a four-way. So how you know it's a four-way? We have four bars right here, and I want my camera to come a little closer. Come a little closer for me. Come on. Anyway, I want my viewers and subscribers to see exactly what's in there. So it can hold four breakers, right? What you use to check it is these knobs right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So only four knobs, meaning it can hold only four breakers. It can't hold anymore. Other breakers with 12 ways and 18 ways, it goes up to even 50, 40 ways. I think you have even 100-way breakers now, right? So you'd have more knobs being added, right? So the knobs is what you use to check it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna look at the different aspect of the breaker panel. So we have the knobs which holds the breaker, right? The breaker would sit into these. We'll get to this a little later on. Then you have what this up here, what we call the neutral bar. Okay, I hope you can get a good view of this. It's a neutral bar. It holds a neutral wire, right? You have the neutral terminals, and you have what is called the main neutral terminal, where the main neutral wire goes to, right? This gold thing here that you see, or should I say copper, is copper looking, it's called an earth lug. It is for the protection of the panel, and I've already pre-mounted it so that this video can move a little quicker, right? This is where all the earth wire goes, that goes into the ground. Many of you have seen that little copper thing that drive into the ground. This is where the connection for it comes to. And what it does, it protects the panel casing. Say for instance, if a live wire should get charred and touches the metal of the box, then it protects you from getting electrical shock, right? So I already pre-mounted it on this panel box, and so we're gonna get right into the connections right away, viewers and subscribers, being as I've already labeled and outlined to you the different components that this panel box has. So we're gonna get right into the connection a little after this. Okay, viewers and subscribers, so we're gonna get right into it, right into the connections. So if you realize, first I want to start with the main incoming supply of the panel, right? Meaning the electricity that is coming from your GPS pole, or sometimes in some cases from your generator. You know, your Delco, or some people call it. Well, Delco is a brand. Some people call generator Delco, but Delco is a brand, right? The real name is actually an electric generator, right? So we're gonna deal with the main wires. Now, if you look, I've pre-wired some main wires here, and I have 3 red wires. One of them got stuck in here. Right. Okay. So I have 3 main wires. Now, they are labeled. They are all red wires, right? Many cases you would have in Jamaican standards for the live wire, you would have had 2 red wires and a black wire. Now we don't have any black wire today, so it is alright. You can wire a house with 3 red wires as long as you put a label to say which one is the neutral. So I've already labeled this. I wrapped a black electrical tape at the end near the termination, so any electrician or any inspector that is coming to inspect the building would have already known that I use this wire as my neutral wire, right? So the 2 wires without no black sleeving would be my 2 live wires. Reason why I use 2 live wires is because it is for a 220 supply. In the Jamaican system, or the grid, we have a grid of, for domestic purposes, we have a grid of 110 or 220. Now when you use 2 hot wires, you get 220. If I use only 1 hot wire, you get 110, right? So today we want to wire this for 220, for a 220 supply. And we're gonna get straight to that, just to point it out for my viewers and subscribers to understand what these wires are about. Okay, so as promised earlier, we will be getting back to our breakers. Now this is a 30 amp circuit breaker. We're gonna use this as our main breaker today. Why? Reason being, you use the breaker depending on the size wire you use. Alright, so I would say now this 30 amp breaker now, the size wire, this is a 6mm square wire, right? In the JS21, the Jamaican Standard Law, this is a 6mm wire. Now the maximum that this wire current that this wire can handle is about 40 amp, right? But for a little circuit like this, we're gonna use a little 30 amp on it. You don't want to use lower than 30 amp on this size of wire, right? You can use 30 or 40 as a main breaker when you're using this size wire as a main wire, right? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead now and get this installed and get this up to date. So here we go. First thing you want to do, viewers and subscribers, you're gonna move the neutral wire to the way, because you get into it a little later on. We're gonna connect our live terminals first. Now what we use, each breaker have a strip guide, right? If you can see it on the camera, you can see the part that says strip, where you strip the wire. So what that means, you would take the wire and measure it, and it will tell you how far you need to strip the wire for it to be totally enclosed into the circuit breaker. Alright, and that is what we're going to do right about now. So we already pre-stripped it, and it measured just perfectly, which means this wire is going to match perfectly well into this circuit breaker right here. So what we're going to go ahead and connect that. I'm going to get my combination pliers, or some persons call it linesman pliers, combination pliers, and what I'm going to do is, due to the fact that this wire is a stranded wire, let me take it out because it's keep on falling out, so let me take it out. Due to the fact that this is a stranded wire, I have to give it a little twist, what we call stranding. What this does, it increases the current carrying capacity of the wire, because whenever you have the wires separated and you connect them in a terminal, sometimes the electricity will be feeding only through some of the strands, while some of the strands are left out. so it will decrease the current carrying capacity of the wire, and you can find that the wire becomes start to burn, or start to overheat. So you have to ensure that you twist all the wires together, right, and get them in there perfectly nice. Okay, so here we go. What we're gonna do, we're gonna get our flat point screwdriver. Okay, we have a little flatty here. Lift that stuff up. Lift both of them up. What we're gonna do from here, we're gonna just connect these two wires, and then we're gonna show you how to install it properly. Alright? Okay. So as you can see, we already installed our wires. You just use your screwdriver and tighten it. You gotta make sure that it's really tight. You shouldn't be able to pull this out. Otherwise, it will be a loose connection. A loose connection in electricity. Once you have a loose connection, it can cause that wire to become overheat and start to heat down the place, right? And you don't want that, because that can cause an electric fire, burning your beautiful home. So we're gonna go ahead and install this breaker now into the panel box. The main circuit breaker, this 30 amp breaker, is designed as a main circuit breaker. So the two is actually two breakers combined, right? Having a little connector here, hooking them together that they can be turned on and off at the same time. So it takes up two space. So already one half of our 4-way panel box is already taken up. So we're gonna have only 2 spaces remaining. So this is how it goes now, right? We're going to install this. We have to slide in the back first, and the holder, the back of the circuit breaker goes in first. You slide that in, make sure it's hooked nice and tight, and then you gently just push down the front, right? And it fits perfectly. You see that? Fits perfectly and nice. And already this panel is starting to make sense already. Okay, so what we're gonna do next, just to point this out, viewers and subscribers, at this point you don't worry about the neatness of the panel as yet. You want to ensure that your panel is neat when you're finishing your work. But while you're installing your breakers, you just find a way to install them, and then you can worry about the neatness after you're finished, right? Because you don't want to neat this up and then you run into problem. You have to unpull this. No, that's confusion. So you just work your way, put in the breakers, then you can worry about aligning the wires straight and nice, which will be shown in this video. Okay, so the next step, so now our main breaker is in. Now we're gonna worry about what is to be powered by this breaker, right? And I have just got 2 simple circuits. I have got 2 other breakers to install and 2 other simple circuits. Okay, I have a 15 amp circuit breaker and I have a 20 amp circuit breaker. Now we normally use a 15 amp for plugs, and we need to use a 20 amp for we use a 20 amp for plugs, and we use a 15 amp for lights. Okay, so what we use these breakers, we're going to install them on the other half of the circuit breaker panel. Now a 15 amp circuit breaker protect lights is protect about up to roughly 12 lights. It can hold up to 12 lights. Okay, 12 regular domestic light, no fancy light like those big high wattage light, but those normal light bulbs you put in the home, this can protect up to 12 of them. All right, this 20 amp circuit breaker, we use it on plugs. It can protect up to 5 110 volt plugs. Those regular plugs you put in a home, this can protect up to 5 of them. All right, so reason being, this kind of wire, this is a 1.5 millimeter wire. For my overseas viewers, those in America and Cayman Islands and so on, the 1.5 millimeter wire in the NEC would represent size 14 on the NEC wire gauge, right, or the American wire gauge as some persons call it. So we use a 15 amp to really protect this, because this can go up to 15 amps, this wire, before it burns. Once it goes over 15 amp, then this size wire begins to burn. So hence we use a 15 amp to protect this kind of wire. This is a 2.5 millimeter wire, and we use the 20 amp to protect it, because anything over 20 amp, then this wire also begins to burn, right? So the 2.5 would be American wire gauge number 12, right? That's what this 2.5 wire would have been. Okay, so first we're gonna install the one for the lights, and we're gonna do the same procedure. First, we're gonna leave out the neutral again, because this is a sheeted cable. I don't want my camera to really get into this. A sheeted cable, I've just You see some sheeted cable here. This is a sheeted cable, so many of the sheeted cable comes with either a brown and blue wire. Some comes with the standard red and black wire, but it is red and blue today. So we know, according to knowledge and the wire coding, we'd use the brown wire as the live, and the blue wire would be the neutral. So we're gonna forget about the neutrals for now, and we're gonna worry about the live wires. Okay, so we're gonna connect these two live wires here. We're gonna connect them onto these two breakers here, and it is the same procedure. First, we let me just rest this in my little holder here. Okay, first we grab our combination pliers. Okay, and we're gonna take it and we're gonna do our stranding once again. Reason being for this, we want to increase the current carrying capacity so that it can carry up to the full its full ability. All right, I'm gonna do this one for the plugs as well. So here we go. Wonderful. Okay, because we want to protect this wire from not carrying its full capacity. Once you leave with certain strands, then it is a disability to the wire. So we're gonna go ahead now and install our breakers right away. Okay. So remember now we get our little flat point screwdriver according to this screw right here. I would have already pre-stripped our wires already with a strip guide. Each of them have a strip guide. We're gonna release our screw here. Okay. Okay, so we have already connected our wires, viewers and subscribers. So something I forgot to point out to you. Normally when we receive a circuit breaker, we always test it to see the effectiveness of it, because what it does, it actually protect the circuit. So what we do, we turn it on, then we take a little screwdriver and give it a little tap. Now once you tap it, that switch would fly backwards. Alright, if it doesn't, it means the circuit breaker could have a fault. Alright. Another easier way to do this, if you fear of hitting it and probably damaging it, you could take your multimeter, right? So I have my little multimeter here, and you're gonna put it on, you know, that if your multimeter have this function, you're gonna put down the little speaker looking thing, and it should give a beep, right? I'm sure you guys can hear the beep. What you do, you turn on that circuit breaker, put one lead at one end, okay, and you put the other lead at the next end, and that breaker should, and that thing should give a hum. Hear that bell? Right, that means our breaker is in perfectly working condition. Okay, so turn it off back, and then we're gonna put put back our multimeter back in a little holder here. It's good to have one of these holders, viewers and subscribers. I want you guys to see this. It's good to have one of these holders here as an electrician. It helps you to work more effectively. You don't have to be bending down, taking up tools. You have everything right at your waist here. Just dip, take up and work. It's a good brand. This is a DeWalt brand. I bought this when I was overseas, and that's roughly 3 years ago, and it's really good and sturdy until this day. I use it on all kind of applications, and it has been very strong. So back to the circuit. Right, so we're gonna go ahead and install our 15 amps first. Please remember, as we said, you would install the back first. I'm gonna put the 15 amps right up here, back, and then you simply just gently press it down. Sometimes it gives you a little fight. So you're gonna press it down, and it snaps right in. Push this wire here. Right. As I said before, don't worry about the neatness right now. We're just gonna worry about putting in our breakers. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and put in the 20. Slide in the back here first. 10 minutes. Okay, so we have already synapsed in these breakers. Okay, so next thing now we're gonna move towards is our neutral wires. Viewers and subscribers, we're gonna move to our neutral wires. Okay, so we have the two neutral here. We're gonna just get our pliers as usual, and we're gonna wind this up just the same. Okay, wind this up just the same. Okay, I know this wire is a little bit damaged, so what I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna strip a new piece. My wire stripper here. Strip off a new piece. I do apologize, viewers and subscribers, for the noise in the background. This is kind of fast moving city here, so you will be exposed to a little bit of noise here sometimes. I do apologize. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this wire into the neutral bar. You don't put it into the main. Oh, my camera can get this. Right, you don't put this into the main neutral bar. You're gonna put it right under one of these little screws here. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just, kind of stretch that wire around there a little bit. I'm gonna put it right into the second one here. Okay, I'm gonna rest there. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna use a screwdriver. I have a little impactor drill here. It's called an impactor because it gives a little impact at the end when it's tightening the screw, and you will hear that just in the wire. So here we go. I put this here, and I'm gonna just squeeze it slowly. You don't want to go too fast and too hard. You hear that impact? All right. Oh wait. It's kind of slipped out. Wait a minute. Should we do this? Make sure that wire is completely in there. The wire was not in there a while ago. Let's go. There you go. It's fully firmly in there. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna install this next neutral wire and get it just the same procedure. We're gonna repeat just the same. Okay, so as you can see, our two neutral wires are already firmly in there. Just want to give them a little pull to ensure they're nice and tight. Remember, no loose wires around here. So we're gonna go ahead now and we're gonna focus on our main neutral. We're gonna focus on this wire. This is the main neutral coming in, and it's gonna fit right into this main neutral bar. So we're gonna do, grab my little flat point screwdriver. I'm gonna release this screw right here. What I'm gonna do is bring this screw directly out, because there's gonna be more than one wire coming into this, and sometimes when the screw is in there, inside of there, it actually can pose a fight, to put it this. So you want to take that screw completely out when you're dealing with the main neutral wire, and I'm going to show you why a little from this, right? So you take it right out, and now we're going to jump to the main neutral wire. Gonna go in there, but first, what we want to do, we have the earth wire coming in from the ground, the main ground. It is a rule that whenever you're doing circuit breaker panel, it is in the Jamaican code, electrical code. The ground wire that's coming from the ground, and this wire represents the ground wire right here. It doesn't have a sleeving, and it's the same size as a 6mm wire. Your ground wire should be the same size as your main wire. So this wire coming out from the ground, it is gonna go to the neutral bar first, then it's gonna be linked to the earth lug. Right, it should be linked to the earth lug. So it's gonna come here, and it's gonna be linked to this. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring in the ground wire into this first, being as it is kind of more difficult to deal with. So we're gonna take our pliers, give it a little twist. Remember, we don't want to decrease the current carrying capacity. I will be doing a separate video on earthing and what it really is in a separate video. Okay, so I'm gonna twist it up very nice. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to twist this one as well. Okay. Nice and smooth and nice. We're going to go ahead now and we're going to try to get it into this earth lump here. One, and then this also from the ground itself gonna fit into this as well, including this wire. So all three gonna go under there. I'm gonna fit it nice and perfectly nice under there. Okay.
Go.
Okay. So viewers, subscribers, we have gotten our earth wire in there, and our main neutral wire have been embedded into this thing. I just want to make sure that it's nice and tight. Remember, no loose connections around here. Now, as I said before, the earth wire, as I said, this wire we have here, it normally goes to your earth rod that's driven into the ground for protection of the circuit. Right, so it goes to the neutral bar first, then it's linked to the earth lug, and all other earth within the circuit is linked to this earth lug here. Okay, you see, the sheeted cable has a naked sleeving, as we call it. It has no insulation. It is the earth wire of this 1.5 wire, and also the 2.5 is already into this earth lug as well. Okay, so they're all embedded into this earth lug right here. Right, so what we're going to focus on now is our neatness of the panel. Right, And how we do that is this: we want to get the wires looking nice and in good shape. So I'm gonna group them together like here and wrap up some electrical tape around it, making it nice. Wrap some electrical tape here. I'm gonna put some here. Normally we'd use tie strap, but if you have electrical tape, it do the job just the same. But you can use a little tie strap, you know, that thing that you, or zip tie, some person call it. You draw it and cut it off. But today we're gonna use electrical tape, and we're gonna get right to that just about now. Okay, viewers and subscribers, so we have taped our wires and grouped them. You can see it look way much better than it used to be. Now bear in mind, these kind of panels are cramped for space. They are 4 ways. They're not that broad enough to give you the amount of space to give your wires space and separate them from each other. So you have to try it to the best of your ability. So I've taped it and, you know, grouped it, and you know, it's looking very excellent, right? So what you want to avoid, you don't want to have the neutral wire. Remember, this is the neutral wire now. Getting too close to this right here, because as soon as this panel becomes energized, then this is a bus bar. It also becomes energized and also can give you electrocution if you touch it. And if this wire becomes contact with it, we know that once a neutral and a live kisses each other or touch, then it can cause electric fire. Okay, right. So you would mark the neutral wire with this tape here at the terminal, at both terminals, both the terminal at the outside and the one on the inside, to really certify that it is a neutral wire. Okay, so once you have wired it like this, then your panel will be ready for use. So all you'll have to do is to turn on your main breaker. Well, that will be after you put on your cover, of course. You'd have to put on your cover on this, but you know, I don't use a cover in this case because I wanted to see exactly what is really happening. So you'd have installed a cover. You have a little cover that you put on, right? And then you turn the breaker on here, the main breaker first. You know, once you turn on the main breaker and you don't see anything happening, it means that your circuit is safe. Then you go ahead now and turn on your 15, then your 20. So my lights should be working now, my plugs also would be working. So what really happened, you know, even before all of this is done, you know, the panel would have to be inspected by an inspector. They will be conducting what they call an insulation resistance test. We'll be getting to that in the next video to come. And you know, various steps before the circuit is actually ready to receive electricity. Alright, so this is just a makeshift circuit for you guys to learn how to wire a circuit breaker panel. I can tell you, if you learn it this way, no matter how big that panel gets, it's the same procedure. All you're doing is adding circuits. You have your main breaker and you have the sub circuits, and you, of course, you would have had the earth log. Okay, different countries use different standards where earthing is concerned. In overseas, according to my overseas experience, we don't use a normal earth log like this. We have what is called an earth screw. So you just put all the earth wires into the neutral bar, and you have a little screw. You put all the earth wires, as I said, you put all the earth wires in the neutral bar, and you have a little screw that connects the neutral bar to the casing of the circuit breaker panel. That's how it's done overseas. But here in Jamaica, we'd use a earth lug. Okay, so that's the difference. So I'm glad you guys watch this video. If it helps, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the description below. And you know, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do remember, you don't see me in my safety gears today, but I do have on my hard hat. You should wear gloves while handling electrical works like this, because you know, these kind of wires, you know, sometimes they can give you like a nick on your finger. You don't want that on the kind of stuff. You want to protect your hands and have good hands, right? So you need a hard hat, your hard boot, you know, your goggles to protect your eyes from you know, anything that could fly out there in the atmosphere. And you want to practice safety at all times. So we'll be doing a separate video on safety in videos to come. So for now, it is, have a good day. I'm Ramon Green, and we do hope you have learned something today. We'll be back with more exciting videos.